Hey, it's Melina, and you're watching Girl in the Verse, the video podcast, where we explore the exciting world of decentralized technology and the people driving its innovation. Whether you're a seasoned crypto veteran or just getting started, this podcast is for you. My job really is to have conversations with founders and builders and artists and businesses. And I'm so honored to have this stage with you to ask the right questions. Okay, without further ado, let's dive right in. Welcome to the Girl in the Verse video podcast. Today I'm joined by Squeeze Taxes. Squeeze is a tax professional who became enchanted by the world of crypto. Since discovering it in 2017, he's followed and studied U.S. tax laws on how to interpret and apply them to the crypto industry. He has no problem calling himself a degen, and he's also an avid collector. Squeeze, I can't believe this, over 200 NFTs across several collections, and has interacted in over 10 different blockchains. You can find him on Twitter Spaces, talking taxes, or tweeting about crypto and NFTs. Squeeze Taxes, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
I'm so excited. We just briefly met in Miami, but so happy to have you here. And I will say, a lot of people gave me your name. This is the person you want to be talking to, all things taxes, crypto, and NFTs. So I'm really excited to dive right in today.
Yeah, I'm excited too, and I appreciate everyone who mentioned me. This is a continuously growing subject. There's so many different things going on with it. There's a lot of basis that have been established because we're using precedent tax laws that are in place. But there's still certain types of activities in which there are no precedents set whatsoever. And, it's a day by day figuring out what's going on, and then also paying attention to the IRS, the White House, and pretty much the government and what they're doing and what actions they're taking.
Yeah, for sure. And what's interesting now is that obviously I thought about this because tax season is approaching. And so I thought, well, how fitting it is to talk about how we need to be filing, our crypto and NFTs and whatnot. So maybe to start off, Squeeze, why don't we provide the audience with maybe some main guidelines of the current tax laws and regulations for cryptocurrency? How does that look?
Sure. So in the U.S., cryptocurrency is viewed as property, same as a house, stocks. There is no specific intangible or tangible labeling to it. It's just strictly labeled as property. Now, when you trade cryptocurrencies and you buy and sell NFTs, they're subject to the capital gains and loss tax rules. The way I like to go about it more is what is not taxable. So the events that are not taxable are whenever you buy cryptocurrency or NFTs with cash. That's not a taxable event. Whenever you transfer cryptocurrency between wallets, that's not a taxable event. That's just a transfer from one property to another. If you gift cryptocurrency to someone, that's not a taxable event. It does get subject to gift tax rules, but you would have to gift a high amount.
Well, I have a question for you. Like, let's say I've staked a coin, right?
Yes.
How do I claim those earnings, or how do I write that out? Because I've claimed and staked, right? So obviously you made a bit more, right? There's a sort of.
So staking is a gray area in which there's different opinions and different stances on it. When you stake a coin, I don't view that as a taxable event because you still have possession of the coin. You have just put that coin into a protocol or into a smart contract in which you can redeem at a later point. Now, if you start earning on the tokens you've staked and you decide to pull out tokens that you earned, That's where it gets into the gray area to determine, well, did what I earn was income? Do I have any taxable event from it?
It's tricky, right? It's tricky, Squeeze. This is
It's,
difficult to
it
sort of
is diff-
explain.
it is difficult because, and that's what part of the Tezos case last year was trying to determine. If a person stakes tokens into a protocol, are the tokens earned taxable income or not? There was no conclusion from that case. You can make the argument that tokens received from staking can be income or can't be income. It's what's called as newly created taxpayer property. That doesn't get taxed as income until the taxpayer who newly created those tokens disposes of it via selling it or trading it for something else. These are the things that the IRS and Congress are trying to figure out. I believe the stance of the IRS right now is if you received anything from staking, it's considered as income.
Like we're mentioning right here, there's a lot of gray areas. I saw online there are websites right now that claim that they can do your taxes in minutes. Is this something you would recommend? Because again, we're talking about gray areas, in your case and in someone else's case. Can this be done online in minutes?
So when it comes to tax crypto apps out there, they're doing the best that they can. It is a very technical and hard thing to figure out. I have yet come across a crypto tax platform that captures everything correctly. From my experience, I have to do a lot of manual edits, whether it's someone purchased a new token and that platform can't find the liquidity pool. So I have to go into the blockchain explorer, figure out how much they spent on it, on what day, and then input those numbers in. Or whether it's a person bought an OpenSea's NFT and the platform isn't recognizing it. So I have to manually input that there was an NFT purchased, at what cost, and the date. I manually track for my clients. I have spreadsheets. So I don't, if any crypto tax platform is advertising that this can be done in merely minutes, I think they're very wrong. And it's partial. I feel like that's false advertising. If someone is just merely trading ERC20 tokens, that might be the chance that possibly, but I've even seen those also have errors and issues as well.
Interesting. Now, obviously, we mentioned the fact that, this could be considered, crypto could be considered property. Is it the same for NFTs? How do we file our NFTs?
The NFTs would get treated similarly as the fungible tokens. And that's something that the IRS made sure to include this year. In prior years, the IRS would reference crypto in general as virtual currencies. But because of the emergence of NFTs, they're starting to change their language to specify digital assets. And now by them using that term digital assets, it's a one catch-all of any type of cryptocurrency that is out there, whether a fungible token or a non-fungible token.
Now, how can I report my cryptocurrency transactions on my tax returns? How does that look?
So the way it works, it's similar to stocks. There's in the US, there's a form 8949 where your taxable events would get reported on, whether it's gain or losses. Now, there is a difference between the different types. There's actually a distinction with gains or losses. There are short-term gains and losses and long-term gains and losses. Those two are separate. And the difference is short-term is anything held for a year or under. If you have that type of taxable event, you get taxed at the ordinary income rates, which is similar to wages, business income, self-employment income. When for long-term, which is a year and a day or over, you get subject to a special long-term capital tax rate, which falls under 0, 15, or 20%. That's why a lot of accountants and financial advisors like to advise, especially when it comes to stocks, and now more towards crypto, if it's a cryptocurrency that is established, to hold long term, because if you do hold long term, you can have the benefit of being taxed at a lesser amount.
So holding, but not necessarily staking, right? There's a difference.
Yes, there is a difference.
What are the tax implications for those who are mining, trading, investing? Is it different when you're trading, when you're mining?
I'm not too familiar with the rules with regards to mining, but my estimate is that anything you receive from mining should be treated as income.
That's it.
And then once you received your tokens from mining, you treat it as income, and then the dollar value upon you receive it is the cost basis of the token. So whenever you decide to sell the token you receive from mining, it won't just be zero. You'll actually have a dollar value.
I wanted to see with you, obviously, I'm here in Canada. We're talking a lot about US laws. I'm assuming that depending on where you live, this is different, right? It's different information, right? The way we tax things is different.
Yes, it is. And Canada has similar laws to the US. If you have a taxable event, you get subject to a certain rate. But I know in Canada, from what I had read, there's also the barter rules, which I'm not too familiar with. But yeah, every place has its own laws, whether they're applying current laws that they have in place or they're starting to develop new laws.
So, of course, everyone, please do your homework, contact your accountants, right? Find out within where you live what are the necessary steps then, right? Because like you said, it's just different everywhere. I was thinking about this too. Is there some sort of like record keeping that's required for your cryptocurrency? Because, right, like this space moves so quickly, and we buy NFTs, we sell NFTs, we buy coins, we keep them on exchanges, or we're throwing them on our ledgers, right, our hardware wallets. Is there do we need to have a record keeping of this throughout the year to help us for tax season?
Yes, it is always in good practice to keep some type of record keeping, especially if you ever get subject to an audit. If you ever get subject to an audit by the IRS, they're going to ask first your record keep, because otherwise, if you don't have that information, you'll have to pay tax fully on that sale.
Wow. So even for gift, right? So you would need to, is this something that you would need to have in writing, or once you receive the gift, you ask the person who sent it to you to write something up? Like, how does that look, Squeeze? Because we get a lot of gifts in this space. So
you can do it either way. There's not anything that specifically states some type of signed statement. I like to save the blockchain explorer information on that specific NFT or cryptocurrency. The beauty of the blockchain is that everything gets recorded on a...
So Squeeze, I took the liberty in asking my community to provide us with some of their questions regarding taxing, crypto, NFTs, any sort of question. Let's go through them together. And of course, if we can't answer them, we can't answer them. But I'm hoping that we can. We're going to do it randomly here. Okay, someone asked, how do we avoid taxes? I think we can't, right?
There are certain special circumstances to avoid taxes. There aren't that many. A lot of, the recent trend recently has been to put it in a trust, a charitable trust. I'm not too familiar with that, so I can't answer with regards to that. If you just buy and hold for a long period of time, you'll be able to be subject to those lower tax rates for long-term holding.
Like you said, the best is to hodl. Hold on to dear life. Okay, let's do another one here. When are taxes due on crypto?
Taxes due on crypto are due at the same time you have to file your tax return. So in the US, you have to file your tax return. I believe the deadline this year is, I'm going to double check, it is April 17th. It's usually April 15th, but if it falls on a weekend, which it does, then it falls on the Monday following. So yes, April 17th.
Another one. Is there a recommended tool for reporting all wallet activity? Example, I think I used Coin Tracker last year.
What I can say with that is to find the platform that best suits your needs, and also a platform that you're comfortable navigating through. You know, there's so many. There's Coinly, Crypto Tax Calculator, Token Tax. For businesses, there's Bitwave. You know, there's so many different platforms that are coming out, that are out there and that are still up and coming, like Reconcile. So, you know, go with whichever you feel more comfortable with.
But or else, I guess, like what we were sort of discussing before, if you're, you know, monitoring where you're sending your stuff, and like you said, you're looking at the blockchain, you're taking, you're gathering all this information day in and day out, then, you know, you could sort of create your own sort of tracker yourself.
You could, you absolutely could. And that's something that I would implore everyone to learn, as to how to look at blockchain data, how to go into the blockchain explorer, put your wallet address, see what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I've got more here. So I've got someone asking us, I got paid in fiat working for a crypto project. How do I tax that?
Oh, okay. So fiat would get treated as either, it depends. It depends on whether you're considered an employee or a independent contractor. If you get paid in fiat and you're considered an employee, that gets reported as wages. Now, if you're treated as an independent contractor, meaning that you worked temporarily, then you would need to report that as self-employment income.
File your own taxes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, one more.
Okay.
How does one evaluate a promise of quick crypto gains or overly optimistic outlooks?
Could you repeat that question again?
How does one evaluate a promise of quick crypto gains or overly optimistic outlooks? I guess this is when I guess what they're trying to imply is if they're staking it or if the value of that coin has gone up, right? Because quick crypto gains. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so let's say you bought an altcoin and in 10 minutes it shot up, 200% out of the blue. If you sell it, then that's a taxable event. If you don't sell it, you don't have a taxable event.
HODL, baby. We got a HODL. That's what I'm learning today. This is why I took it upon myself, because I figured, you know what? A lot of us have a lot of questions. And so I'm really glad that the community came through and asked us their questions. I'm happy that we got to answer them. Any last words you would like to tell people regarding tax season, taxation, and what the best practices are?
With regards to tax season, be patient. Accountants have had a rough couple of years having to deal with the government, the IRS, with, there's never been a period where there's been more tax law changes ever throughout consecutive years than what we went through when dealing with COVID. A crypto advice that I always like to tell people is verify, then trust. Please don't get hacked. Please don't get your crypto stolen, because unfortunately, as of right now, if in the US, if you get hacked and your crypto gets stolen, you can't take a deduction on that.
Yeah.
Do the best to your ability to keep track of all the different types of activities you're doing. Because crypto accountants right now, we charge steep. I'm not gonna lie. I heard an accountant the other day, actually the accountant that I learned about crypto taxes for, I heard her rate and I was like, my gosh, I need to raise my rates.
Yeah, well, it's a new industry. It's, finally getting recognized, right? So there's a lot at stake right now. And you're right. There have been a lot of changes over the last couple of years. So bear with our friends doing their best of their abilities, right?
Yes, please bear with us.
Squeeze taxes. I have one last question.
Sure.
Why squeeze taxes? I love the name And I always picture like, the hands with like the money and like we're squeezing the money out, right? Like, so why this name? What brought you to this name?
Yeah, it's a playful name, but it's a descriptive name too, because my goal is to help taxpayers make sure that they're not being overtaxed, they're not being undertaxed, they're paying the right tax, and and making sure that the IRS isn't trying to overtax people too.
Thank you so much, Squeeze, for being here. I'm just gonna close this down by saying, for those watching, if you have any questions, Squeeze and I would love to hear from you. Any tax related questions, just drop them in the comments below, and we would love to do a second video answering your questions. As always, you can find me, Girl in the Verse, everywhere on social media. I love chatting with you in the DMs. Come say hi to me. Come tell you your favorite part. Come tell me what you learned from Squeeze today up in the DMs. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter. Twitter's our fave platform, Squeeze, right?
Yeah.
So just come say hi to me, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Bye, everyone.